We're looking at cheap plays. We're looking at contrarian picks to help you win in GPP. These are my NFL DFS picks for week 14. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching the couch. Because we're concentrating on GPPs mostly in these videos, we want quarterbacks that are going to provide us upside, that are going to have that ceiling. Lamar Jackson will offer that, of course. He's the best quarterback in fantasy this year by far, but he's going to have to do it on the ground. Going against the Bills, very good defense. This will probably be a low-scoring game, could be a slow-paced game, and it should be a windy game. We're playing in December now. A lot of weather is going to come into play here, and he's going to probably be able to do that. He's not going to be contrarian because I really liked Mahomes a lot of weeks, but Mahomes has a really tough matchup playing in Foxborough against the Patriots. This week, it's a little bit messy when it comes to the matchups. There aren't too many ideal quarterbacks that just pop out at you. There are some, of course, in this video. But I'm saying Lamar Jackson, I like him. He will nowhere be a contrarian pick, though. This video is sponsored by Prolytics. Prolytics offers a complete DFS tool suite with projections, including ceiling and floor projections. That's very important. Lineup optimizers, a weekly cheat sheet with the top picks and top stacks, as well as several other tools to help you win. Their modern machine learning AI technology is what really separates Prolytics from the competitors. Because of all the positive feedback from the Couch Fam and other users, Prolytics has decided to keep partnering with us, and right now they're offering a 2-week free trial. So follow the link below in the description and use promo code COUCH to get your free 2-week trial. I use it every week and highly recommend it. Now back to the picks. Rodgers, I say the same thing. I like him this week, and he just has the trait to be a GPP quarterback. Last week he did very good. Wasn't a GPP quarterback. He was just, pretty good. But he's been up and down, very inconsistent, and that's what we like in GPP quarterbacks. Going against Washington, they may have to attack him through the air. Actually, in this matchup, I think he has a decent floor as well. Let's move on to some other picks. Deshaun Watson, 6,500. Only reason I don't like this pick is that we're not going to get those bonus points. We're not going to get those brownie points at the end when the Texans have a big lead and Watson's not going to need to throw the ball. But by that time, he may already have about 21 fantasy points, maybe like 29 fantasy points. And that is good enough for a GPP going up against the Broncos. Unfortunately, this should be a lopsided game. Moving on to some slightly more contrarian picks, we have Jameis Winston going against the Colts. Last week was a bit of a shock because they did it on the ground. They did it with Peyton Barber against the Jaguars, and that's really the only game that we've seen him do that. Just about every other game, he's put up 300 passing yards, and I see no different going against the Colts. Colts' run D is decent, but attacking him through the air is going to be a problem. Teams, it sucks when you're a defense and you have to defend both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. By the way, Jameis Winston is 6,400, and I'm not as high on Fitzmagic as maybe others. I would rather go, and they're the same price, by the way. Fitzmagic is 6,000 playing in the same game. I'd rather go with Sam Darnold priced at 6,000 going against the Dolphins. Look, the Dolphins have allowed a top quarterback every single week. Except one. Well, we don't really want to count that one game where they played Brian Hoyer, who's really the third string quarterback for the Colts. Other than that Hoyer game, only one quarterback didn't do too well, and that was Sam Darnold. What week was that? Week 9, Sam Darnold played in Miami, only put up 13.5 fantasy points. But man, he's facing Miami. This one's a home matchup, and I absolutely love it. Le'Veon Bell did not practice Friday, so that's a big sign that he might not play. My guess is he will play still. He seems like he's pretty sick. He didn't practice due to illness. Let's see what happens there. I think Darnold will have to attack through the air. I love him at 6,000. Will he be seeing ghost, or will he be seeing GPP first place prizes? And if you're looking for a punt, I do like David Blau, not a quarterback that I necessarily trust or will be picking a lot, if at all. But I did want to just mention my favorite punt, because you have Drew Lock here at this price range, Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. Like, there's some other options, but I think I'm going to go with David Blau because the Vikings pass defense isn't the best. You can't attack those corners. And with guys like Marvin Jones and Golladay, even maybe sprinkle a little bit of Danny Amendola in there, 5,200, super cheap, going against the Vikings. Almost surely the Lions will have to throw the ball, and David Blau probably better than Jeff Driscoll. We didn't see it, jury's still out. Might be way worse than him. We've only seen one game. That's the sample size we've seen on David Blau on Thanksgiving, and in the first half he was pretty good. Let's see how he can do. That's my punt of the week at quarterback. For running backs, I do like Christian McCaffrey, 10,300. Last time he played the Falcons, absolutely went off, 33 fantasy points. Let's see if he can do it again. And we have two guys that I like, not maybe a ton though, because it's already been known it's not going to be that contrarian. But I do like Derrick Henry, 8,200, going against the Raiders. I do like Leonard Fournette, 7,800, so that brings you slightly more value going against the Chargers. Chargers not that good against the running back position, not that good against the run, but I'm all in on this guy right here, Aaron Jones, the making of a GPP running back. All in on this guy. Can he catch some balls? Can he do it on the ground? Sweet matchup against Washington at home. And he hasn't done it in a while. I think if I came to this conclusion and I'm a little bit excited about Jones, I think other people will arrive to the same conclusion. Usually how it goes. Nonetheless, I still like him. I think Fournette is much safer. Henry's much safer. So those two running backs will attract more DFS players. I'm going all in on Aaron Jones. And I did want to provide one contrarian pick. Carlos Hyde, 4,500, going against the Broncos. Texans should have the lead. It should be a lopsided game. Hyde is pretty much touchdown dependent since we do play PPR, and he hardly catches any balls. Look at this. Every other game he gets like one target in the pass game. So he's really not involved in the pass game. So what we need from him is 2 touchdowns. Definitely see this happening. He gets you 1 touchdown early on in the game in the first half. And then as they're trying to run out the clock and run a lot of run plays, go with Carlos Hyde. Play it safe, up the gut. Get that touchdown against the Broncos. Broncos not putting up a ton of points. They're a bit banged up. Just not a good team. They have some good players, but the season's not going their way. They're starting their 3rd quarterback already. Flacco seems like old news. Why am I talking about the Broncos and this and that? Because all this means it should be more of a Carlos Hyde type script. Duke Johnson is cheaper price. Duke Johnson balled out last week, and that's why I think Carlos Hyde won't be as owned. I think he'll be fairly contrarian, but like I said, he's going to need 2 touchdowns, and this is the game where he can do that. I did want to mention Bilal Powell at 3,500. We talked about Le'Veon Bell missing practice Friday. If he does miss practice, I'm sure Ty Montgomery will get a decent amount of work in the pass game. He might be more like the 3rd down back or somewhat involved, but Bilal Powell should get the bulk of the carries. And at 3,500, if Lev Bell is out, he's going to be super chalk. On top of that, the Dolphins-Jets game is an early game on Sunday, so we will know. It's not like you have to pick Bilal Powell or swap him or anything. We'll know at least 90 minutes before game time if Le'Veon Bell is going to go. Again, my guess is Bell will go, but just a guess. Didn't practice Friday, so it is worrisome that Bell may or may not play. Not giving a lot of picks in this video, just going straight to my top picks, my great value picks, my cheap picks, my contrarian picks that I think will really help you out, because we can all arrive to the conclusion that these wide receivers are all good. Devontae Adams is good, Julio Jones is good. Like we can arrive to that. Godwin, I like him. Some picks that we may not arrive to without the help of me or without the help of discussing it amongst other people. I do like Christian Kirk, and I see him as one of the best value plays this week. So Christian Kirk, priced at 5,200. I think people are thinking, oh, it's a low scoring game and Kyler Murray's a hamstring, this and that. It does scare you a little bit, but who's the number one receiver on the Cardinals? Who's guaranteed to get you targets? These other receivers have really been phased out. Remember, I used to talk about, what's his name, Sherifold, or it'd be like, oh, Keyshawn Johnson sleeper, or what about Fitzgerald? They're pretty much been irrelevant for several weeks. Like, it's not even been like 1 or 2 weeks. Like, it's been Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, maybe a little bit of the running backs. Kyler Murray doing some things on his own, on the ground. But it's going to be Kirk. He's going to get a ton of targets, and all he needs is to get in the end zone, or he can have a ton of receptions. He can easily get you that 100+ bonus. So Christian Kirk, 5,200 going against the Steelers. Little bit of a bonus that it is at home in Arizona, and that is a dome, which makes it a little bit better for passing purposes. And then we have Corey Davis at 3,900. Kind of risky here because he's a tight ends wide receiver. We don't know like who Tannehill's going to throw to. He spreads the ball a lot. This offense runs through Derrick Henry. But with Humphreys out and A.J. Brown, who I do like, priced pretty expensive, Corey Davis is a great start, a great priced player you can pick, give you a lot of salary cap relief. And why not going against the Raiders? Check the weather status here, but his price is so low that I'd probably be okay picking him no matter what the weather is, unless some kind of like crazy storm or blizzard's going to hit. Tennessee at Oakland. I do like this. Ryan Tannehill has been playing well. He won't be super contrarian, but I don't think he'll be popular either. He's had 20+ fantasy points twice. That's okay. So at least we know he can get it done. And this matchup could be good. Moving on to tight ends. It's not that I don't like any of these guys, but I'm just going to mention the top guys that I do like. Like, I do like Waller. I do like Hooper, Kelsey. It's Hooper's first game, by the way, coming back from injury. And then we have George Kittle right here. I do like him, 5,900 going against the Saints. Going to be tough to run against the Saints. So Coleman, Mostert, Breda, tough for them. Look, if they do well, it's going to surprise me a little bit. I do see them possibly breaking off a big run or whatnot, but in general, it's going to be a tough day for those three running backs. This is a George Kittle type of game script. Marshawn Lattimore could be back shadowing Emmanuel Sanders. Who's going to defend George Kittle? Really, no one has. It's been more of the scheme. Like, is George Kittle blocking? Is he going to get freed up? It's more about the offensive scheme. I don't doubt George Kittle's talent. So what we got to project is really targets. Will he get the yak? Will he get the touchdown? And I think this game screams yes for that. With that being said, we can see another performance like week 13, 3 fantasy points. They're playing in New Orleans in a dome, so that's okay when you're throwing the ball 40 yards to Kittle. I love Jack Doyle. I think this guy's going to be a bit chalky. He's going to get at least 7 targets. Last game he got 11 targets, so I wouldn't be shocked if he got 7 targets, 11, maybe even 14 targets this game against the Bucs. Seems like Jacoby Brissett and the Colts will need to throw the ball. They're super banged up at the receiver position. T.Y. Hilton's out. Jack Doyle, man. And they just extended Jack Doyle's contract. I think he's happy. Think he might get out there, catch 5-6 balls and get you a touchdown. Price 4,600. The price is just right. And Vance McDonald's the type of guy to ruin my lineups because I like him if you're considering stacking him with Doug Hodges, and then you're like, all right, well, I'm only going to pick McDonald if I'm stacking him, and then Doug Hodges doesn't do well, and McDonald, you get the point. Nonetheless, Arizona Cardinals are allow the most fantasy points to the tight end position. Every tight end that goes up against the Cardinals has balled out, except Eifert, I think. Other than him, every tight end just goes off, and McDonald has huge upside this game. He just hasn't been good this year in fantasy. Just not getting enough targets, really not getting enough receptions, just really not doing it. He's had, what, 2 good games? Yeah, 2 good games out of 12. That's not really good. Now, for cheaper options, I absolutely love this one. It could be my favorite pick. That's going to be Jonnu Smith because he's only got 2 fantasy points last week, 0.4 fantasy points the week before, and mediocre numbers before that, 7 and 4. But before that, he has shown some flashes, 20 points against the Bucks, 9.4 against the Chargers. That's not too bad. Like, we've seen him be able to do it. With Humphreys out, they're going to have to throw to somebody. Raiders aren't great when it comes to defending the tight end position. And why I like him is he's going to be a bit contrarian. And the reason Jonnu is going to be a bit contrarian is because Greg Olsen is out. And Ian Thomas is minimum price, decent matchup against the Falcons. And he got 6.4 fantasy points last week. He's going to get a decent amount of targets. He's definitely going to get a lot of snaps with Greg Olsen out. And so I feel like people will go to the cheaper Ian Thomas and overlook Jonnu Smith, who's had a total of 2.4 fantasy points the last couple of weeks. That's when we go all in, right? He's not performing well. The price isn't perfect. I mean, it's good, but not the best price out there. We can go get a cheaper Ian Thomas, and that's why I do like Jonnu Smith in GPPs. Contrarian. For defenses, same thing here, just like tight ends. I like the Packers. I like the Vikings. Browns are okay. Steelers are okay. I like the Texans a lot. My favorite defense is going to be the Jets, though. 3,200. Great value going against the Dolphins. Dolphins do give up a lot of points against opposing fantasy defenses. And I like the Buccaneers as a punt. 2,300 going against the Colts with the injuries they have. Bucs have a great run defense. If they can just make 1 or 2 plays in the secondary, boom, they're going to ball out like they did last week. Week 13, 23 fantasy points. Week 12, 16 fantasy points. Are they trending upwards? Well, the data shows they are. And another defense that's okay is the Titans defense, 2,600 going against the Raiders. Hey, that's pretty cheap. Make sure you guys do follow the link below in the description. Check out Prolytics. Use promo code COUCH to get your free 2-week trial. Also, it really helps support this channel. Make sure you're subscribed to Fantasy Couch. Make sure you subscribe to our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Lots of awesome live stream and content on there. Hit this video with a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you did not. And I'll catch you on the next one.